What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Best Self Blueprint. For those of you who don't know, the mission of this podcast, either by my lonesome or with amazing guests like today, is to inspire you, educate you, just show you experiences of what it takes to move that dial towards becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that means to you. So today I have someone that I've been hunting down for quite a while. This guy is a huge inspiration in fitness, in wellness, in business, and just in overall life at the ripe old age of 23. So, Matt Werner, welcome.
Trevor, what's going on, man?
Not much. I'm working and living. That's about it. But I really want to start with a question off of something I saw this morning on your story. So it relates to something that we talked about before you came on. This morning, you posted something from the Bible that said, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send and who will go for us? Then I said, here am I, send me, which directly ties to something you told me beforehand, which is really what we are is we're offerings to the world. So I think that Bible verse connects with what you told me, but what do you mean when you say that? How are we offerings and what do we offer?
How are we offerings and what do we offer? Well, first off, that Bible verse, I hear it. I first heard it from the movie Fury. I don't know if you ever watched that movie. Shia LaBeouf said it. He was in the tank, and like this was right before they were holding down the ridge. The Germans were coming, and I mean they had hundreds of Germans, and it was five guys in a tank, in a broken down tank. And that Shia LaBeouf said that Bible verse, and it was just super inspirational because they all knew that they were going to die, but they were willing to risk their life for God. And that's kind of what I think when I'm moving in my life and the way just that I operate. Like I'm doing everything for Him, and it's not even about me. It's not about me. It's just about helping other people, serving other people. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel. That's all I am.
Yeah, so it really made me think about I'll go back to my darker days when I was doing psychedelics and all that fun stuff. And everyone talks about the ego death and what happens and your identity boils down. And when I had a pretty rough experience one time, it boiled down to one word, and that word was serve. All the rest of the pieces of my identity got stripped away, everything I liked, everything I preferred, all my biases and all of that. And I was left with the word serve. And so I really appreciated that you said what we are is we're offerings to the world because it's true. Every action we do, everything that we say, whether it's to ourselves or to someone else, there's a stamp on that and it is an offer to the world. And so being very intentional about how we move, how we talk, how we interact with others, every bit makes a difference. And I know you've done a lot of work with that, but what are you trying to offer the world right now?
The best version of myself. I truly believe if you can show up and be the best you, then you'll automatically help elevate other people, the lives around you. If you're not right, dude, you're not gonna be able to help other people.
Agreed. It's the age old how can you pour from an empty cup, but it's
Exactly.
it's a tall task, right? Because it's not just one thing. I think a lot of people they work hard at their work and then they're a little too tired to work hard on every other area of life.
Mhm.
But every area requires a full cup. And so I really like that. But one thing I want to get into you with, because I get this all the time in the coaching that I do. I often get asked about finding the time to build something or take something to the next level when life already has the person pinned down with obligations and responsibilities. I'm sure you've gotten this quite a bit from people asking how you do it. And so I'm going to ask you, how do you do it? How did you build a successful business, level up physically and mentally, create the life that you wanted while working a full-time job and having those obligations and responsibilities?
Well, I definitely did get asked that a lot, especially early on in my career. I was I started out in network marketing, entrepreneurship when I was 18 years old, still in high school. So I was in school doing half days. The other half of the day, I would go to work. And then the rest of the evening, I would go to gymnastics practice from 6 to 9 p.m. And then after that, I'd go to my mentor's place and we would work from like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then I'd wake up at 6 a.m. to go to school. Like that was the entire cycle, the entire senior year. And I think a lot of it was just purely off of ambition. Like I was just so hungry. And before that, before the after gymnastics practice, I would go, or sorry, when I would go to after gymnastics practice, I would go to my mentor's place. For all of that, it would just be like I'd go back home and play video games with my boys. So I just replaced it with something like a real life video game. That's really how I look at business and how I look at life. It's like a video game, bro. You're just leveling up your character every single day, and it's super fun. You get when you get into momentum, it's so fun to keep playing the game because you're constantly leveling up. And obviously, like there's the small daily battles that you go through, but on a larger scale, as you step back weeks and months, like you leveled up so much. And that's when you reflect on that, you take a step back, that's what keeps you going every single day. And you don't even really think about like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to make time for this just because that's you're so involved into it. So you really just gotta, it's the ambition, man. You gotta have it. I mean, Dana White talks about you either got it or you don't. I guess a lot of it came from my upbringing.
Yeah, so talk to me about that. What drives your ambition?
What drives me? What drives you?
I think for me, the biggest thing is we're here no matter what, right? And it brings me back to I know you work out at Lifetime. I did a 24-hour workout there once, and it was we're there for 24 hours. So I can either spend the 24 hours bitching and complaining and not doing it and procrastinating, but I'm still going to be there the 24 hours. So because I'm there, I might as well make a really cool story out of it and push myself and do something crazy. And I view life very similarly, where I don't know if I'm going to be here another 2 hours and walk outside and get hit by a bus, or if I'm going to be here another 150 years because science takes off and I can live that much longer. But I know I'm here. And so while I'm here, I can either be in the stands or ride the bench, or I can just get in the game and do some crazy stuff. And so that really is it was a long process of finding out, okay, with this game and the rules of the natural laws of the universe, what game within that am I passionate about? How can I get good at it? And what excuses are standing in the way that I need to knock down? And so now, like you said, to me, it's just become a game, like working, doing the podcast, doing these events, doing coaching. Even I'm with you. I'm entering the wonderful world of content creation, and it gets away from feeling like work once I've plugged into that feeling of, at least for me, ambition that's derived from figure out what the heck I'm doing here and do something about it.
Yeah, I got my answer now, and it helped getting your point of view. What drives me is my future family. I think about that all the damn time, man. I think about my future wife. I think about my future son, my daughter, just my entire empire that I'm building. That's what drives me every single day on a longer term basis.
That's amazing.
There's a tweet that I tweet often. I think I got it from somebody. I don't know who I got it from, but maybe it was Iman Gadzhi. I'm not sure if you know who that is. He said, "Become the man that you'd want your daughter to marry." And I don't know. I've always wanted to have a daughter. I want to have a daughter. So like when I think about that, it keeps me in check. but that's the longer term thing. That's what really drives me, man, is my family. I want to build a dope ass family. I want to build an empire. That's what I want to build. Something that can last generations. I don't know if you ever heard of the Medici family. It's this banking family that was back in the what era was it? Like the Leonardo da Vinci. This was the well, maybe like 1400s or 1700s, something like that. There's a word for it that it was the time that it was called. But long story short, the Medici family, they're worth a lot of money. They still are worth a lot of money. They're kind of like the Rockefellers. But there was this show, I think it was on Netflix, the Medicis. I watched only the first season. I think they had 2 seasons, but just how they positioned their family and just building the empire and the family around it. I was like, that's what I want. So really, that's honestly what drives me, man. And maybe that was what was driving me when I was a young kid too, because I always knew when I was younger, I want to have a family. I grew up in a big family, man. 2 younger sisters, 2 older brothers. So like, I think I would like to have a big family too.
Yeah, it's first of all, I think that's the number one motivator for anybody is family, whether it's current family or future family. That's something I've been dabbling in the mindset of more recently is, I've spent years building this thing. Now what?
Yeah.
By no means am I going to stop building, but like you said, there is that sense of greater purpose that comes from not just providing for yourself, but for family. And yeah, just kind of bookend that piece for people who are listening. Ambition for me, I think it's difficult to be passionate about something if you're not even interested in something. So starting by just figuring out what are you interested in? What piques your curiosity? Dig into it. If it doesn't get boring very quickly, okay, stick with it. And then as competency grows, I believe passion grows because purpose often is found within the pursuit and the growth of a thing. So for Matt and I, we're both very fortunate that we found our arenas relatively early. But even if right now you're listening to it like, that's great, I don't know what my arena is, just go test stuff. You don't have to know right away. You don't have to pick something right away, but start by finding something you're interested in that you're at least base level competent in and start pushing the envelope. But I want to kind of back up because you talked about big family. I know before we got on, you were telling me a little bit about just your upbringing. What secrets to success have you found when reflecting on your childhood? Between you were saying dad's blue collar, mom was stay at home. You have 2 older brothers, which I also have an older brother. I know the competitiveness that comes from that. 2 younger sisters. I'm sure there's a protective nature that's built through that. What are a few of the things that you picked up early on that you believe contribute to your success now?
Yeah, mom stay-at-home babysitter, dad worked in construction, sun up, sundown. Very rarely saw him. He would show up at practice at the end of the night at my or go to my sporting events, but that was about it. He was always working. So I definitely got a lot of that work ethic from my pops, which I'm sure a lot of sons could say about their dad. My dad's just hardworking man. And then my mom, being a stay-at-home babysitter, she would always do arts and crafts and stuff with the little kids. So I got a lot of creativity from my mother. And then my 2 older brothers, my oldest brother, he was very good wrestler, had a full ride scholarship to I think it was like a D2, D3 school. This is years back. He got into the whole college scene very young. He was like 17, freshman year, which he was very young for his age, is what I'm saying. He kind of just got too in deep with the college scene, partying, and years later he got it big into alcohol and all of that, gained a bunch of weight. And I'm a young kid. I looked up, that was my oldest brother. I looked up to him. He was like my idol. And then my second oldest brother, who is only, I think, 3, 4 years younger than my oldest brother, who's 33 right now, he was kind of like a troublemaker, always growing up, just getting in trouble, out of trouble, drugs, alcohol. had a kid when he was 18, still in high school. And, a lot of that stuff, as I reflect on it, just the drugs, the alcohol, I was able to, I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to see that stuff at a young age because it showed me exactly what I don't want. And I've kept a firm grip on that, staying far away from the drugs and alcohol. I can count on my fingers the amount of times that I've had a drink. So yeah, that had a big play into it. And I'm super grateful that, that played out how it played out. Because I know a lot of people, they look at that like, oh, my mom's an alcoholic, so I'm gonna drink. But I looked at it as like the opposite. It's almost like the superhero movie, man. Batman, when he's a kid and his parents die, you can either go down the evil path and just be a bad person the rest of your life. Oh, my parents got shot and killed. I'm gonna hop into that. I'm gonna get my vengeance. Or they're gonna grow up and be a hero. And in terms of like, I'm gonna save the city. That's never gonna happen to anybody else ever again. So that's really how I move. It's like that hero villain type of life with just the way I make decisions and stuff. So yeah, my older brothers, my younger sisters, definitely having that kind of overprotectiveness. You could definitely say that. Uh, yeah. It's nice reflecting on that though, because I'll be honest, bro. The last like 6 years, me being in business, like I don't spend too much time with my family as I should. I was actually telling my buddy yesterday, just like about my pops, bro. And he actually, so I think he did a pretty good job with the cards that he was dealt. His mom had breast cancer for like 10 years. Like she was fighting it for like 10, 15 years since he was a kid. So his mom was never really there because she was always sick and he never had a dad. His dad got up when he was a very little kid, moved out of the picture. So he kind of had to figure it out on his own. And I haven't yet to like go and tell my pops, like, man, you did a pretty damn good job with the cards that you were dealt. So yeah, a lot of that stuff, that upbringing definitely has molded me into the person that I am today. But a lot of people could look at that and be like, okay, I'm gonna, do the opposite. I'm not gonna do what Matt did. And I think a lot of the reason why I'm not doing what most people are doing, which is following their parents. I'm going to keep drinking, smoking. I'm going to, do this, that. The reason why I don't do that is because I got involved into entrepreneurship, and not even entrepreneurship was just a gateway for me to get into personal development. That's what it was. That was my way out. Without me getting introduced to entrepreneurship, I would have probably never found personal development, and I probably would have went down that evil path, following what my older brothers did and all that.
I've never really thought about this before, but it does seem like entrepreneurship and self-development
It goes
tend to
hand in
go
hand.
hand in hand
Yeah,
nowadays.
100%, dude.
But I think to your point, it is a lot of people who choose the entrepreneurial path are people who question how to get away from the ordinary. So, ordinary levels of fitness, ordinary levels of health, ordinary levels of ambition, ordinary levels of success. And so, yeah, it's just an interesting little snippet you gave me there to think about. But yeah, there are just so many clues that come from people's childhoods. But like you said too, it is funny to think that if two sons grow up with an alcoholic father, it's likely that one will himself become an alcoholic and the other will never touch a drink. And both will give the exact same reason because I saw my dad do it.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of power in understanding that you choose the perception of reality that's given to you and not just letting your mind go nuts inventing something for you because man, reactive living nowadays, at least for me, that path looks scary. I do not want to live reactively based off of what my mind instinctively goes to. But for you, because this is something I think you excel at, it's something that you do at a very high level, which is response versus reaction. I think it's very easy to just give way to that immediate reaction, right? Whether it's an emotion, so like anger, sadness, frustration, anxiety, but to create that little bit of a time barrier to allow yourself the response that you choose versus the reaction that's given. Is that a skill that you developed? Have you always had that?
100%. Emotional intelligence, dude. You watch, I'm big into movies. So, for example, like James Bond, watch his movies. He never overreacts. Like, even though he's down bad, he's not blowing a big fit. And that's all successful people I've studied, the top elite successful people and athletes, the entrepreneurs, whatever you have it. They never get too high on the highs. They never get too low on the lows. They stay right in the middle. They're calm and collected. They keep their composure.
So I've definitely heard an abundance of don't let the lows get you down, right?
Mhm.
But for a lot of people, I think the far more difficult one is don't let the highs get too high because there is something so alluring about leaning into that positive spectrum, right? And allowing yourself to have that runaway train of positive emotions. What do you see as the danger of that? Is it just the kind of balancing act of if you allow that, then inherently you're going to allow this? What do you think it is about when you give into the high highs, inherently you're going to allow the low lows?
I mean, we could definitely go to that time with my business and me getting greedy.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great example of where it is that you're trying to go. This is a couple years back in my network marketing business. I had a team of maybe 300 active, few hundred active for sure. And people in my, so the company that I was a part of, we were like an educational platform. We were teaching people how to trade inside of the currency market, crypto, options, futures. I wasn't doing too much of the trading. I was more just pushing the products, the service. And, I would get the residuals off the team that I had built. But then also we had learned something with the brokers. These brokers would like pay out a high percentage if you were to like fund however much money in your trading account. So all these people, we'd recruit, they'd fund their trading account, you get a big percentage off of it. And it was very incompliant. You can't do that being a part of the company that we were a part of, but we were still doing it. And I knew that it was bad. Like, I'll be honest with you, bro. There was some leaders that had gotten terminated from the company because the company found out they were doing that. They were making all this money. And I knew, like, that's when I started to find out about it. And then I started to do it because nobody told me about it. So I was basically paying out all of my leaders and stuff with the affiliate links and stuff using their links. And I didn't realize it until everything happened. And then because I was like angry, I was like, man, nobody ever told me about it. And I was at a point in my life where I wanted the lifestyle so bad where, the cars, the money, everything, I didn't freaking care about it. So I started to run that affiliate thing after the fact. People were getting terminated from the company. I didn't care. And obviously, like, I made very good money from it. I made very good money from it. And I never got terminated from the company from doing that. But running that for the time that I did, it was only for about a year. This was about 2 years ago. It ended up crashing. People stopped using, obviously people stopped using the brokers, but mainly it started crashing because I knew deep down that I was doing wrong. Like, I was doing people harm, bro. And it was hurting me to the point where like my team started to leave and stuff because like I just wasn't there emotionally. And that was when I started to go down a huge downward spiral over the last couple of years, just basically paying back my my debts, not financially, like paying back to people financially, but like, man, I know for damn sure God punished, like, hey, you did that wrong. All right, you're gonna get punished. And for the last couple of years, man, I've definitely have been paying those debts. So like that's a big thing that I learned with the you don't want to get too high in the high, you don't want to get too you want to stay right in the middle and just do right. Your intentions pure, your heart's pure. It may take longer. It may take longer, bro, to get to where it is that you want to go, but you're doing it right. And you're gonna feel better on the inside.
A lot to unpack with that. I appreciate you telling me about that too, because it is not easy to admit. It's one thing if you make an honest mistake, right? It's another to admit and be vulnerable about an intentional decision.
I was trying to
But
take a shortcut to financial success. That's really what I was trying to do.
and I think with that too, there has to be some alleviation that comes with being willing to admit it. But even still, I call it the junk drawer.
Mhm.
I think everyone lives with, well, both in their physical house and in their mind and in their emotions. I think everyone has a junk drawer. And whether it's little lies or little negative actions, or maybe it's one or two big things
Yep.
that they just don't want to acknowledge, they put it in this junk drawer and they tuck it away. But eventually, that junk drawer is going to get so full that either you take a look at it or it wrecks the house. And so, what I'm curious about, because obviously, right now, and we'll get into this as well, but you were telling me right now is the best chapter of your life so far. And I'm sure a big piece of that is paying those debts and facing those
Because
demons.
I faced the junk drawer. That's why.
But what for you was the first piece of reconciliation? So I guess we'll go from the first piece would be, when did you really accept, okay, it's actually time for me to change what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then what was that process like of starting to
Mm.
move in a different direction?
Yeah. So this was about obviously like I stopped doing it a while back, but a year ago was when I really started to like change my whole mentality of how I looked at money and you know the shortcuts and just really confronting that junk drawer. And one of the first things that I realized when I was doing all of that stuff years ago was that I was actually I was basically hurting the people around me because I was doing that. Like they knew I was doing that and they knew it wasn't like they all stopped doing it because they seen people were getting terminated and stuff and they were almost like, bro, I don't want to associate around. I don't want to be around you, man. Just bad energy. Because to be fair, the years ago when everybody was doing with the affiliate thing, they didn't realize that it was incompliant, that you couldn't do it with the company. But then when company cracked down, that's when I started to do it, which is why like it was just yeah, it was really really bad. But yeah, the first thing was realizing like I'm hurting the people around me because of the way that I'm doing my business. And I didn't like that because I hang around with some real sharpshooters, some really quality people, and I didn't want to burn those relationships. So that was the first thing. The second thing, I was in a relationship on and off for about a year. This was, you know, last year we're speaking. Back in like January was when I made the decision really to just cut off. Hey, if it takes me longer to get there financially, that's okay. I just want to do things with the pure heart. So a lot of it had to do with the relationship too. Like she didn't know anything that was going on in my mind, but I was like, I want to be good. I want to have a pure heart also for her too. And I don't want to have any ill intent behind anything that I'm doing. So a lot of that was influenced, yeah, by the people around, really the people around me. That's what it was. And I was sick and tired of lying to myself, man. Always growing up, bro, I was always lying to myself. So I was always trying to take shortcuts in gymnastics, in wrestling, sports specific school. I didn't learn jack shit in school because I was always taking shortcuts. I didn't get very strong when I was in gymnastics because I was always cheating. I was cheating my own self. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot when you do that. You're not fucking over anybody but you. That's really that's what you're doing. You're hurting your own self.
And there's something in there too. I think it's the story of Icarus. I think for people who have grown up knowing that they can get away with taking the shortcuts, it takes the moment where the shortcut bites them to finally give up that dirty habit. But yeah, dude, I was in the same boat. For me, I grew up and it was white lies. It was just cutting the edges I knew no one would see, right? Those things that you could get away with. And unfortunately, I think the first lesson I learned, I've been reflecting on this quite a bit. The first lesson I learned wasn't don't lie. It was lie so well that you don't get caught doing it.
Mm.
And then eventually, like you said, there is a mix of, someone calls you on your bullshit and I just feel like garbage doing this. And so I think that's the important thing for everyone to realize is no matter whether you get caught or you don't get caught, or even you get accolades for what you're doing, Tom Bilyeu says this so perfectly. How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself?
That's all that matters, right?
Right. And so it's like if you're alone, you're looking in the mirror and you just feel that like someone's grabbing your
Guilt,
gut and
shame.
twisting. Oh man, that is the most surefire sign that something needs to change. But now, like we said, you're in the best chapter of your life. You're crushing it on the fitness stuff, both the content and the actual workouts. I mean, if anyone has not gone to your fitness Instagram, go check it out because this dude is an absolute beast. But what, first of all, what does that look like on a daily basis? And
I'm
what's
glad
the
I'm glad
motivation
you
behind it?
I'm glad you've kept that question kind of broad with like, what do you do with the fitness? Because it's very contrary to popular beliefs, just how I do my fitness and nutrition. For me, I work out every single day. And I've been working out every single day at least for the last 5 years straight. I also, or recently, I added a second session. This was maybe 7 months ago. Every single day in the morning, I'll do weight training. And then at night, I'll do calisthenics. So in the morning, I'll do about 4 exercises per muscle group. I don't do like the push pull legs. That's not what I do. I like to really break it down specifically. So, like, for example, tomorrow, Sunday, I'll be hitting legs. Monday, I have shoulders. Tuesday, back. Wednesday, legs. Thursday, chest. Friday, biceps and triceps. Saturday, chest. I do legs and chest. I double that up every single week, mainly because those are like my weakest muscle groups. But it's quick. Like I'm not in the gym very long unless I'm like talking to people. That's really the reason why I'm there. The time that's why I'm there so long is because I'm talking to people. But like the weight training takes no longer than about 45 minutes. I'll do about 4 different exercises per muscle group. And I go, my set is like 10, 8, 6, 4, and I max out on my last set. So every single exercise that I do, the 4 exercises that I do per muscle group, I'm maxing out on my last set. And I do that every single day. Now, I'll come back at night and I'll do calisthenics. I'll do pull-ups, maybe it's burpees, maybe it's push-ups, split squats, leg raises. I'll do that for about an hour straight. It's kind of like a little circuit. Recently, I've been on the pull-up and burpee binge just because burpees they're a pain in the ass. I have never really done them like that before. My buddy suggested them to me last week, and I started doing them, and I'm like huffing and puffing, man. 10 minutes in, I'm like, no, like, because I'll do sets of 15 pull-ups, sets of 15 burpees, and I'll just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for an hour straight. So I'm gassed, man, like sweating everywhere uncontrollably. It's intense. And I think hear me out now. The weight training, obviously, like you build the muscle. And then when you do the calisthenics, you define the muscle. That's just my own belief. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that's just how I go about it. And then obviously they're like, how are you able to sustain the 2 sessions a day every single day? Well, I push for at least 7 hours of sleep, quality sleep. My nutrition is dialed in. Like I don't really fuck around, go out to fast food places. Like I'm really picky with what I'm putting into my body. And then also I stretch. I stretch a lot. I stretch every single day. So that my muscles, they're loose, they're good. I'm not, I'm not getting injured. I'm not risking, I'm less likely to get injured if I'm getting the quality sleep, proper nutrition, and stretching. And then I also, because a lot of people, they always ask me about like my abs. A lot of that has to do with like gymnastics, and we push that really heavy. So I have all these ab circuits and stuff that I do, and I'll end that with my weight training. I'll do like a 10-minute ab workout. But yeah, it's intense, man. I mean, we're talking at least 2 hours every single day for both and stretching, everything.
And aside from obviously the physical benefit, what do you see as the physical or the
Hmm.
outside of physical benefits
Perfect.
of, I think the first part, just committing to something every day, and the second part, sweating your ass off doing burpees for an hour.
Yeah. So that's a great question because I know there's going to be people that muscle hypertrophy, dude. You're not going to get as strong if you work out every single day. Like, bro, I don't. First off, show me what you look like. They show me what they look like, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to look like you. I don't want to look like you, bro. So that's like the first thing. Like, I'm good. I like how I look. The second thing, I don't work, and this is contrary to popular beliefs again. I don't work out to get strong. That's just a byproduct. I work out for this. I'm sharpening my mind every single day. I made a post on this on my social media the other day, like talking about doing the things that you don't want to do, regardless of how you feel. My body aches. Cause yeah, dude, when you're working out, doing 2 sessions a day, every single day, obviously your body's gonna ache, regardless of stretching and sleeping, like you're still gonna be sore. So like I go to the gym regardless of how I feel. I don't care how I feel. And that's just sharpening my mind. And that's why I believe so much more than the other person, because I'm willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do.
Hmm. Yeah, this makes me think of, I'm sure you know who Cam Haynes is.
Oh yeah.
He was, I don't remember who the podcast guest was, but he had someone on and they asked him something along the lines of, I'm going to paraphrase, I don't have it memorized, but they asked him something along the lines of, what do you do or how do you get motivated on days where you don't feel like running? Because every day he does that mountain up and down, whether it's carrying the rock or doing the thing. And the question almost didn't compute in his head. He was like, what do you mean? And they said, well, on days that you don't feel like it. He's like, well, I don't do it because I feel like it. It's just what I do. And there's such power in that simple answer of, it makes me think of what I ask my clients when I first start working with them, which is, are you interested or are you committed? People who are interested, they'll do it when it's convenient. They'll do it when they feel like it. But only the people who are committed will do it, period. Not there. There is no when attached to that sentence. It's like, I
Right on
will
time.
do what is required. And so that I think is a really powerful lesson for anyone too, is abandon. And I think this directly falls into that bucket that we were talking about earlier, which is emotional intelligence. Part of emotional intelligence is knowing when not to lean on your emotions.
Sure.
And it's a fine line to balance in the work that I do, because there is a lot of intuition that comes from being in alignment. There is a lot of understanding kind of the flow of when you are in the pursuit. There are certain things that should kind of feel like a puzzle piece clicking into place, but there's also going to be uphill battles. And so being willing to kind of tuck that emotional response in your pocket, not completely abandoning it, but just understanding this thing, whether it's working out, whether it's going through emails, whether it's doing the stretching, whether it's having the tough conversation, it's not waiting until you feel like it. It's that is who you are, period. So yeah, a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, dude, that's something I'm so passionate about, because it is tough. There are a lot of people, I'm sure there are a lot of people who listen to my podcast who I've done coaching with. I'm sure a lot of people that you interact with. There are people who they want it. You can tell that they want it. but they don't want it enough to pay the price to get it. And that's a tough spot to be, is when you genuinely, if you're out of shape, I'm guessing you want to be in shape, but you don't want it right now more than you want the McDonald's and the Netflix and the alcohol and all the other stuff. Maybe you want to start a business, but you don't want it enough to stay up till 3 a.m. and be stressed and do all that stuff.
It's like the grandpa on the porch with the dog sitting on the nail. You ever heard of that? So this guy, he walked past this grandpa on a porch, dog sitting on the porch. He was like howling. And the guy asked the guy on the porch, like, why is your dog howling? And he was like, I don't know. I think he's sitting on a nail. And he's like, why doesn't he give up? Like, why doesn't he move? You know, the dog's sitting on a nail. He's howling, he's crying. And the grandpa was like, I guess it don't hurt bad enough.
Yeah.
It just doesn't hurt bad enough, man.
So what's your advice to people like that? Because again, in your business, I'm sure you've worked. I dabbled in network marketing for a little bit, and I probably at that point I was one of these people that I'm talking about right now. And so, quick side tangent: nothing that I say comes from a place of judgment because I do get it. I've been in the spot before where I've wanted something, but not more than I wanted to be comfortable. And so this isn't coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of awareness. We're both trying to get whoever's listening to this, you on the other side of this camera, we're trying to get you to become aware of the traps that at least I and many people have fallen into, so that instead of going through the mess, you can just take the message and run with it. But so going back, what's your advice to those people who they do want it, or at least they say they want this thing, but words are worth dick when compared to action, and their actions are not in alignment with the words they're saying they want? What's your advice to those
I
people?
have no sympathy for them. Continue to suffer. Continue to suffer. Like, bro, that's really what it is. If you want it bad enough, you'll change. And when you are ready to change, I'm right there. I'm ready to lock arms and run with you.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting juxtaposition because there is the coach part of me that is like, man, I want to help you. I do. But then there's also the part that completely resonates with you, which is, look, I've been in the dump. I've had to dig my own way out. And I think,
If I can do it, so can you, bro.
right.
Different.
And I really think it is one of those. It's like once you've done it, there's inherently less sympathy for the people who are there because you're like, look, it's doable. You gotta earn it. It's not a given thing. There's no participation trophy in this one. Like you gotta hit that podium if you want that trophy. So you spent a good chunk of time building the network marketing, getting into the self-development, which is an infinite game. Now you're shifting over to health and fitness. What's next? What's the next horizon that you're striving towards?
Well, health and fitness is just like a byproduct of what I do. The essence of it is like coaching. I'm helping people. Specifically, I'm like an accountability partner for life. But yeah, if like you're not in shape, if you're not where you want to be, I'm going to help get you right. I'm going to help get you right physically. I'm going to help get you right mentally. And that's really what I have going on right now. Just helping people, man, helping people become a better version of themselves. And the only reason why I feel confident, me being 23 years old, helping these people is because, dude, I'm putting in the work in every single day. Like I've been putting the work in every single day for the last 5 years straight. So like I feel confident helping other people do the exact same, helping them become a better version of themselves, helping them face their what'd you call it? The drunk drawer. Face it head on. I'll help you fucking face it head on. I'll help you clean out that drunk drawer. I'll help you remove your vices. Nobody wants to be that fat, overweight dad who just drinks beer after work, reclining the chair. Like nobody wants to be that, bro. It's crazy to me. that people will do that. It's, I guess it just doesn't hurt bad enough. That's really what it is. It just doesn't hurt bad enough for you. But I know you could be way more than you already are. So you're doing yourself a disservice. And this goes back to like my purpose and my why I'm so hungry, building my family, man, my dynasty, my empire. Like you're disrespecting, bro, your parents by being a shitbag, by eating the fucking corn chips 10 p.m. at night when you know damn well you should have been brushed your teeth and in bed by now. Like that's my cheat code, bro. I brush my teeth, I put my retainer in, so then I'm like, all right, I can't eat anymore.
Not worth it. Dude, activation energy is a huge piece of that game. Just that overall self-development, life optimization game is pulling and pushing the levers of activation energy. So things that you don't want to do but you're doing create barriers that increase the activation energy. Well, and then on the flip side, right? It's like, okay, things that you shouldn't be doing that you are doing create the barriers. Things that you're not doing that you should be doing remove the barriers. And so it really is one of those. The reason I say it like I'm talking to a second grader is because it's second grade conceptual stuff. The issue isn't necessarily the knowledge on a lot of this stuff. Like you said, it's the accountability.
Going back to like what you said with the simplicity behind it, like the second grader type of reading level, whatever that you were just saying, bro. I wanted to make a video on this, but I just didn't know how to construct the video. But I mean, I think I have a good understanding on it now. Like I believe at least the successful people that I've been able to study, they're not necessarily adding things to their life. They've subtracted things from their life. That's really what success, if you want to achieve success, whatever success that you desire, you need to remove things from your life. That's going to help you get closer to your goals. Like the vices, you got to drop the vices, man. If you're big into going to clubs, that's most likely something, that's one of the things that's holding you back right now from achieving what it is that you desire, or the drugs, or the alcohol, or the the women, whatever, video games, all that, bro. That you have to remove that stuff so then you can make room for the space that you desire.
I mean, hopefully the name of this podcast shows this, but this podcast is for people who they want to level up. They want to be extraordinary. They want to become the best version of who they can be. I do believe there are people out there who just don't care. And to me, that's a very sad thing. But I think there are people, I mean, I've had friendships with people like this where they want to just do their 9 to 5, go home, pick up some McDonald's on the way, play some video games, have a few drinks, go to bed, rinse and repeat. And it's like, look, I'm not the one to tell you whether or not you're happy. If genuinely you're happy, cool. But for what I believe to be the vast majority of people who are craving purpose and growth, it's exactly what you're talking about. You have to make sure that, because man, I mean, this in and of itself is a killer of creation. It can also be a really powerful tool, but there are a lot of people who, if you just look at your screen time on a daily basis of doom scrolling social media and looking at different, games, and to your point, women, games, clubs, all of these things, just getting very honest with yourself and just simply asking, does this thing line up with my personal definition of success and fulfillment? And if the answer is no, that's where it's time to get to work. And there's a lot of work that has to be done. There is a lot of stuff tucked in that junk drawer.
I think you're wrong personally
Ooh, okay.
with the part where you're talking about the 9 to 5 dude grabbing McDonald's, going home. They just haven't had that person get in their corner, into their ear, that right person tell them like, dude, what are you doing with your life, man? You can be way more than you already are. Maybe, yeah, maybe the job's cool, like, but you could be higher up in that job, or maybe not the McDonald's. You could have got, something a little bit healthier than that. Like, that's not good for you, bro. You freaking idiot. McDonald's isn't good for you. So stop saying like, oh, I'm comfortable. I'm cool where I'm at. Like, bro, you could be better than you are. They haven't had that person, that right person, get into their ear and tell them that. Like, dude, I freaking believe in you, man. I believe in you. And if we lock arms together, I know we can freaking level up your life.
Yeah. So I agree with that 100%. I think everyone has the potential to level up. So I'll tell you a story that I think does a better job of explaining what I'm trying to verbalize. So one of the friends that falls in the category of what I was talking about, him and I had a debate about an apple versus a donut. So most, at least I thought this was a non-debatable topic. What's better for you, an apple or a donut? I said, not even close, an apple. Nutrients, it's not going to have the sugars in it that or the added sugars in it. It's far better for you. It'll give you the energy that you need throughout the day. And he looked at me and laughed and he said, "No, no, no, no. The donut's better for you." And in my head, I'm like, "How the fuck could a donut be better for you than an apple?" And he said, "Well, here's the thing. The donut brings me joy. The apple doesn't."
What does he look like?
A little taller than usual, probably 6'2", 6'3", not very fit, not very healthy.
Those people need to shut their mouth. They literally do not know what they're talking about. And they're the single reason why this society is fucking crumbling. People are just they're too ignorant. That's what it is.
I think too, you might have read the book or at least heard of it, The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that sums up really where the difference is the person who falls into that camp. I think they're the type of person who just doesn't realize that they have permission to hope or to want more. And like you said, I do think that's a big reason why I don't just do the coaching piece for best self. I want it to be a community because there is something so powerful about plugging yourself into a system of people who believe they themselves and you deserve to level up in life and will hold you accountable to push yourself to do the things to have that better life. And so, just like you, it's very tough for me to come across those people that don't see the value in that or don't have that permission granted in their head. So, for you, when you come across someone like that, because like you said, they need the right person to sit them down and deliver the message in the right way to crack them open enough to make the change. What do you see being the right message for that person?
It all varies on the person. Like we could use maybe someone who's like an alcoholic, for example. Like what are those meetings called? Where those people that are like recovering?
AA?
Yeah. I mean, those are really the people that have that are the most credible to talk about alcoholism, right? So like those people potentially could get under not under their skin, but like get real with them. Like, dude, let's say like this dude's 70 years old, alcoholic, lost one of his lungs or whatever, just in real tough shape. His whole family left him because he's just so deep into alcohol and just ruined everything. He, one of these young kids who's been going down the wrong path with alcohol talks to him, it could potentially, change his perception on everything.
Gotcha. So yeah. So you think the best, I mean, dude, it kind of ties to what you were talking about with your upbringing too, of sometimes you just need a direct example of what you don't want and really actually see what that looks like to be motivated to go after what you do want.
Bro, I'll tell you this. It's like when I was in that phase, just that phase a couple of years ago with all the residuals I was making, the affiliate income I was making, I was doing pretty well for myself. I would watch like the I would watch the mafia movies or like Goodfellas or Bronx Tale or Blow or what's Wolf of Wall Street, Boiler Room, all these movies just with money and they're doing really well. They have that fast rise to success. And then at the end of the movie, they either get shot and killed, they lose all their money, they go to the jail. I would stop watching the movie right there. That was I would stop doing that because I wouldn't want to face reality, bro. That's like kind of with the people that are so involved into alcohol or drugs or women. They don't want to talk to somebody who's like been through it and knows what the other side's like. They don't want to see that. Nah, bro. Like if you have a dog, you put your dog, shits in the living room or something like that. Put the dog's head like right by what did you do, man? You're supposed to poop outside, you know what I mean? Or pee outside. It's gonna like, nah. It's away from it. Same thing, bro. Same thing.
Man, there's so many different threads to pull on with this, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, I mean, we've gone over what is ambition, what drives ambition, what gets in the way, who do you have to be, who do you have to be around? What other messages do you want to drive home for people?
There's a lot of people on social media that you could follow, buy their product or service. I would just say this, man. Find somebody who has what you want, do what they do, say what they say, so that you can have what they have.
Follow the blueprint. All right, last question because now I'm curious. What for you in your life is the next step in you becoming your best self?
Continuing to do what it is that I've already been doing for the last 7-8 months. Continuing to show up every single day to the gym, regardless of how I feel. Continue to show up for my clients, my people, every single day. Continue to study, personal development, grow myself, obviously, that law of the lid type of thing. I'm constantly growing myself. I got to continue to do that. It's like I'm just continuing to build myself up, and I'm actually okay with postponing my success. I'm postponing my success because I'm going after bigger success. I'm like a gardener right now, dude. I just want to keep planting seeds. That's all I want to keep doing in my life right now. I just want to keep planting seeds. All areas, all aspects of my life. Health, wealth, love, all of it. I want to just keep planting seeds. I want to keep developing me, keep growing me, keep postponing the financial success, keep postponing because I'm not even into the financial success anyways. If I just keep showing up and doing me every single day, the money's going to come. I truly believe that. So I just got to keep showing up for me, keep my intentions pure, and that's it, man. I'm like Batman Dark Knight Rises when he gets thrown into the pit. Bane throws him into the pit. I'm just building me up. I'm strengthening my mind so that I can get to the point where I can get out of the pit and then beat Batman.
Heck yeah, man. Well, anything I can do to help you plant those seeds. Like I said, I've followed at least, followed social media wise closely, and it's obvious you're dialed, you're doing the right things the right way consistently, you're motivating other people, you're staying true to your beliefs, your morals. So anything I can do, you name it, and I will help you out. But Matt, appreciate you coming on. Any last words?
Thank you, Trevor. Man, share this podcast.
Yeah,
Share.
that's the spiel. Yeah. So everybody listening, especially if you've gotten to this point, thank you for tuning in. You know the YouTube spiel. If you got value from anything we talked about today, click that like button. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, agreements, disagreements, all are welcome in the comments section.
Hear it.
What's that?
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. All
I'm
right.
ready for the negative comments.
Well, yeah, dude, that's the thing is I say a lot of stuff on these podcasts that I'm sure people disagree with. This podcast isn't just about me telling you what is true. This is me along with amazing guests talking about what we've experienced and what we know to be at this point in our journey. But yeah, anything you think, throw it in there. And then assuming you know someone who could get value from this conversation, that's what that share button is for. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Stay up to date. There's a lot of stuff happening with the studio. That apparel line just came in, so go ahead and check that out. We have events, charity events, paid events, free events, groups, all the fun stuff going on. So just go check it out. Matt, I will throw all of your socials below, but go ahead and spit them out for people real quick.
Yeah, I mean, really, any platform, it's just King Werner, King, last name Werner, Werner. Two R's though.
All hail the king. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.